Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Thanksgiving service. Let's begin by singing hymn number 45. Dear God, how glorious is thy name through all the earth and sea and sky, the wondrous heavens, thy handiwork, the moon and stars hast thou ordained. Hymn number 45. The scriptural selection is from Psalms. It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord, and to sing praises unto thy name, O Most High, to show forth thy loving kindness in the morning, and thy faithfulness every night, upon an instrument of 10 strings, and upon the psaltery, upon the harp with a solemn sound. For thou, Lord, hast made me glad through thy work. I will triumph in the works of thy hands. O Lord, how great are thy works, and thy thoughts are very deep. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. He shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon. Those that be planted in the house of the Lord shall flourish in the courts of our God. They shall still bring forth fruit in old age. They shall be fat and flourishing, to show that the Lord is upright. He is my rock, and there is no unrighteousness in him. Unto thee, O God, do we give thanks. Unto thee do we give thanks, for that thy name is near, thy wondrous works declare. Now let's have a few moments of silent prayer and then repeat the Lord's Prayer together with its spiritual interpretation from the Christian Science textbook.
The Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven.
Our Father, Mother God, all harmonious.
hallowed be thy name.
Adorable One.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom is come, thou art ever present.
Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven.
Enable us to know, as in heaven, so on earth, God is omnipotent, supreme.
Give us this day our daily bread.
Give us grace for today. Feed the famished affections.
And forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors.
And love is reflected in love.
And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
And God leadeth us not into temptation, but delivereth us from sin, disease, and death.
For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, for ever.
For God is infinite, all power, all life, truth, love, over all and all. Let's sing hymn number 150. In mercy, in goodness, how great is our King! Our tribute, thanksgiving, with glad hearts we bring. Thou art the renewer, the Ancient of Days, who givest for mourning the garment of praise. Hymn number 150. Has everybody got a quarterly? So now comes the lesson sermon. Good, thank you. Friends, the Bible and the Christian Science textbook are our only preachers. We shall now read scriptural texts and their correlative passages from our denominational textbook. These comprise our sermon. The canonical writings, together with the word of our textbook, corroborating and explaining the Bible texts in their spiritual import and application to all ages, past, present, and future, constitute a sermon undivorced from truth, uncontaminated and unfettered by human hypotheses, and divinely authorized. You will find the Thanksgiving service beginning on page 56 of the Citation Quarterly and on page 68 of the full text edition. So the subject is Thanksgiving. Golden text, Colossians. Let the peace of God rule in your hearts, to the which also ye are called in one body, and be ye thankful. The responsive reading is from Jeremiah and Psalms. The Lord hath appeared of old unto me, saying, Yea, I have loved thee with an everlasting love. Therefore with loving kindness have I drawn thee.
For thus saith the Lord, sing with gladness for Jacob, and shout among the chief of the nations.
Behold, I will bring them from the north country, and gather them from the coasts of the earth, and with them the blind and the lame, the woman with child, and her that travaileth with child together. A great company shall return thither.
Therefore they shall come and sing in the height of Zion, and shall flow together to the goodness of the Lord, for wheat and for wine and for oil and for the young of the flock and of the herd. And their soul shall be as a watered garden, and they shall not sorrow any more at all.
Hear me, O Lord, for thy loving kindness is good. Turn unto me according to the multitude of thy tender mercies.
I will praise the name of God with a song, and will magnify him with thanksgiving.
The humble shall see this and be glad, and your heart shall live that seek God.
Let the heaven and earth praise him, the seas and everything that moveth therein.
Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye lands.
Enter into his gates with thanksgiving, and into his courts with praise. Be thankful unto him, and bless his name. The Bible, Psalms. Offer unto God thanksgiving, and pay thy vows unto the Most High. I will praise the Lord with my whole heart, in the assembly of the upright, and in the congregation. The works of the Lord are great, sought out of all them that have pleasure therein. His work is honourable and glorious, and his righteousness endureth for ever. He hath made his wonderful works to be remembered. The Lord is gracious and full of compassion. I will worship toward thy holy temple, and praise thy name for thy loving kindness and for thy truth. For thou hast magnified thy word above all thy name. All the kings of the earth shall praise thee, O Lord, when they hear the words of thy mouth. Yea, they shall sing in the ways of the Lord, for great is the glory of the Lord. With my whole heart have I sought thee. I have rejoiced in the way of thy testimonies, as much as in all riches. Deal bountifully with thy servant, that I may live and keep thy word. Open thou mine eyes, that I may behold wondrous things out of thy law. Luke. Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
I'm now going to read from the Christian Science textbook, Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures by Mary Baker Eddy. Dost thou love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind? This command includes much, even the surrender of all merely material sensation, affection, and worship. This is the El Dorado of Christianity. Christians rejoice in secret beauty and bounty, hidden from the world, but known to God. Self-forgetfulness, purity, and affection are constant prayers. Practice, not profession. Understanding, not belief, gain the ear and right hand of omnipotence, and they assuredly call down infinite blessings. Not materially, but spiritually we know him as divine mind, as life, truth, and love. We shall obey and adore in proportion as we apprehend the divine nature and love him understandingly, warring no more over the corporeality, but rejoicing in the affluence of our God. Religion will then be of the heart and not of the head. Starting from a higher standpoint, one rises spontaneously, even as light emits light without effort. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
Psalms. O come, let us sing unto the Lord. Let us make a joyful noise to the rock of our salvation. Let us come before his presence with thanksgiving, and make a joyful noise unto him with psalms. Isaiah. For thus saith the high and lofty one that inhabiteth eternity, whose name is holy. I dwell in the high and holy place, with him also that is of a contrite and humble spirit, to revive the spirit of the humble, and to revive the heart of the contrite ones. Is not this the fast that I have chosen, to loose the bands of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, and that ye break every yoke? Is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bring the poor that are cast out to thy house? When thou seest the naked, that thou cover him. Then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thine health shall spring forth speedily, and thy righteousness shall go before thee. The glory of the Lord shall be thy rereward. And if thou draw out thy soul to the hungry, and satisfy the afflicted soul, then shall thy light rise in obscurity, and thy darkness be as the noonday. And the Lord shall guide thee continually, and satisfy thy soul in drought, and make fat thy bones. And thou shalt be like a watered garden, and like a spring of water, whose waters fail not.
The poor, suffering heart needs its rightful nutriment, such as peace, patience in tribulation, and a priceless sense of the dear Father's loving kindness. If we turn away from the poor, we are not ready to receive the reward of him who blesses the poor. The rich in spirit help the poor in one grand brotherhood, all having the same principle or Father, and blessed is that man who seeth his brother's need and supplieth it, seeking his own in another's good. Love giveth to the least spiritual idea might, immortality, and goodness, which shine through all as the blossom shines through the bud. Spirit blesses man, but man cannot tell whence it cometh. By it the sick are healed, the sorrowing are comforted, and the sinning are reformed. These are the effects of one universal God, the invisible good dwelling in eternal science. Whatever inspires with wisdom, truth, or love, be it song, sermon, or science, blesses the human family with crumbs of comfort from Christ's table, feeding the hungry and giving living waters to the thirsty.
Jeremiah. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, they shall be my people, and I will be their God. Yea, I will rejoice over them to do them good. And I will plant them in this land assuredly with my whole heart and with my whole soul. 1 Kings. The Lord our God be with us, as he was with our fathers. Let your heart therefore be perfect with the Lord our God, to walk in his statutes, and to keep his commandments, as at this day. Psalms. He healeth the broken in heart, and bindeth up their wounds. Great is our Lord, and of great power. His understanding is infinite. Sing unto the Lord with thanksgiving. Sing praise upon the harp unto our God. Luke. And Jesus returned in the power of the Spirit into Galilee, and there went out a fame of him through all the region round about. And he taught in their synagogues, being glorified of all. John. Then spake Jesus again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. If ye keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments, and abide in his love. These things have I spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you, and that your joy might be full. Luke. And as he entered into a certain village, there met him 10 men that were lepers, which stood afar off. And they lifted up their voices and said, Master, have mercy on us. And when he saw them, he said unto them, Go, show yourselves unto the priests. And it came to pass that as they went, they were cleansed. And one of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back, and with a loud voice glorified God, and fell down on his face at his feet, giving him thanks. And he was a Samaritan. And Jesus answering said, Were there not 10 cleansed? But where are the 9? There are not found that return to give glory to God, save this stranger. And he said unto him, Arise, go thy way. Thy faith hath made thee whole.
Jesus established in the Christian era the precedent for all Christianity, theology, and healing. Christians are under as direct orders now as they were then to be Christ-like, to possess the Christ spirit, to follow the Christ example, and to heal the sick as well as the sinning. The divine principle of healing is proved in the personal experience of any sincere seeker of truth. Its purpose is good, and its practice is safer and more potent than that of any other sanitary method. The unbiased Christian thought is soonest touched by truth and convinced of it. Of the 10 lepers, whom Jesus healed, but one returned to give God thanks, that is, to acknowledge the divine principle which had healed him. Are we really grateful for the good already received? Then we shall avail ourselves of the blessings we have, and thus be fitted to receive more. Gratitude is much more than a verbal expression of thanks. Action expresses more gratitude than speech. If we would open their prison doors for the sick, we must first learn to bind up the broken-hearted. What we most need is the prayer of fervent desire for growth in grace, expressed in patience, meekness, love, and good deeds. To keep the commandments of our Master and follow his example is our proper debt to him, and the only worthy evidence of our gratitude for all that he has done. Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
Isaiah. As the earth bringeth forth her bud, and as the garden causeth the things that are sown in it to spring forth, so the Lord God will cause righteousness and praise to spring forth before all the nations. Psalms. Bless the Lord, O my soul. O Lord my God, thou art very great. Thou art clothed with honour and majesty. He watereth the hills from his chambers. The earth is satisfied with the fruit of thy works. Blessed are they that keep his testimonies, and that seek him with the whole heart. This is the day which the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. O give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good. John. Jesus cried and said, He that believeth on me, believeth not on me, but on him that sent me. This is my commandment, that ye love one another, as I have loved you. Ye are my friends, if ye do whatsoever I command you. Henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant knoweth not what his Lord doeth. But I have called you friends, for all things that I have heard of my Father I have made known unto you. Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you, and ordained you, that ye should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain, that whatsoever ye shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it you. 2 Corinthians. And God is able to make all grace abound toward you, that ye, always having all sufficiency in all things, may abound to every good work. As it is written, He hath dispersed abroad, He hath given to the poor. His righteousness remaineth for ever. Now he that ministereth seed to the sower, both minister bread for your food, and multiply your seed sown, and increase the fruits of your righteousness, being enriched in everything to all bountifulness, which causeth through us thanksgiving to God. Thanks be unto God for his unspeakable gift.
The life of Christ Jesus was not miraculous, but it was indigenous to his spirituality, the good soil wherein the seed of truth springs up and bears much fruit. Christ's Christianity is the chain of scientific being, reappearing in all ages, maintaining its obvious correspondence with the Scriptures, and uniting all periods in the design of God. We all must learn that life is God. Ask yourself, am I living the life that approaches the supreme good? Am I demonstrating the healing power of truth and love? If so, then the way will grow brighter unto the perfect day. Your fruits will prove what the understanding of God brings to man. Man walks in the direction towards which he looks, and where his treasure is, there will his heart be also. If our hopes and affections are spiritual, they come from above, not from beneath, and they bear, as of old, the fruits of the Spirit. Spiritual living and blessedness are the only evidences by which we can recognize true existence and feel the unspeakable peace which comes from an all-absorbing spiritual love. When we learn the way in Christian Science and recognize man's spiritual being, we shall behold and understand God's creation, all the glories of earth and heaven and man. Now Catherine's going to sing the solo for us, which is hymn 520, Let All Things Now Living. It's now open for anybody who wishes to give thanks and express gratitude and healing experiences appropriate to Thanksgiving. And Gordon, I think, has the microphone, so please use the microphone. Thank you.
before I talk about the healing, I just want to talk about this book. I bought it here on Sunday, and honestly, probably all of you have read it, but it's wonderful. Have you, Mary Baker Eddy, Christian Healer?
Yes.
You have? Okay, right. Well, it so impressed me because I'd never known that when people were healed by her, and healed instantly, and some people brought out of death, that it would not only be the healing, but they would go away feeling at peace and sense of love. So it deeply touched me, and I'm so grateful for a healing I've just had, though, and it's exceptional for me because all the healings I had when I was a Christian Scientist came through Doris Dufour-Henty, who actually, if she hadn't been around when my mother was bearing me, I don't think I'd be here. It was an extraordinary experience. So yeah, I have been working. So yeah, what's happening is that in the last 2 or 3 years, I found myself, as I was getting older, I'm in my late 70s, I was just getting more and more tired. And I thought, well, this is just old age, it's how it is. But the woman I'm living with at the moment said, Michael, it's not true. And I didn't really want to hear it, but anyway, I did. Eventually, she heard of this guy, Anthony William, in America, who's an extraordinary man, and he had really he is renovating modern medicine, frankly. And one of the things that he said was he wrote about adrenal fatigue, and so she had the book. And she said, Michael, I want you to read the chapter on adrenal fatigue. So I did. And by the end, it's about 4 or 5 pages, I thought, well, yes, she's right. You know, the reality is not only that I'm tired most of the time, but frankly, at times I can't sleep properly. It's like I try to go to sleep and I can't. And I wake up yawning. And so maybe I've got this. So she said, well, he's got a diet you can go on, which you can eat, and it will help you. But I read there, and it said, well, it's going to take a minimum of 5 to 8 months to heal. So I thought, well, I'll stick on the diet, but I'll also pray. And so I prayed. So I did start prayer to God, and through Science and Health and the Bible, and I did that quite a lot. But then what I did do that, you see, I have not been a Christian Scientist since 1984. So I had this man, Bruno Gröning, who really rescued Germany after the war. And so I would also pray to him as well. So it was, I must confess that I did both. But really, you know what? It didn't take more than a month. And I was healed. That's just so extraordinary for me. And so I'm so grateful. And of course, it's the first healing that came about through my doing something myself directly. And that has given me a lot of faith, for which I am just very, very grateful. And it's a real blessing. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
I'm very grateful for really a great year of unfoldment of prayer and protection since this time last year. And there's been so much to be grateful for, which I've shared on Wednesdays, but just looking back on it, a lot of it's been to do with the idea that there are lots of little minds pulling in different directions, and sort of turmoil and trouble and things like that. As many of you know, I'm chairman of an outfit called Reading Guild of Artists, and that has been a fantastic opportunity, really, to prove that there is, in fact, only one mind governing, and things have fallen harmoniously into place time and again during that time. And I'm just so grateful that the one mind does govern and enables us to cope with whatever experience would throw at us. I was able to negotiate with the university and resolve a problem there for the group of artists and within the group as well. It's been a great privilege. And also there was a sort of neighbourhood dispute with my neighbour, which I had the help of a practitioner with that, and a dispute between him and the farmer who owns the land around our home, and all that was resolved. So I was hugely grateful for that. Physical healings as well, some of which took place while we were on our holidays this summer in Namibia. Lots of protection there, driving across the desert and all this kind of thing, which was very exciting, and was accomplished with everything unfolded harmoniously. But I was particularly grateful for physical healing. There was I mentioned a blemish, a spot on my face, which my wife Anne was very concerned about because a friend of ours had something similar. He didn't know anything about Christian Science. It got out of hand, and he subsequently passed on, and she was very concerned about this. But although she's not a Christian Scientist, I'm just so grateful that she always expects it to work and expects that that's what I will do. But she was insistent that I call a practitioner, which I did. And the thing was resolved within 48 hours. It just went. And I was just so grateful for that. And I know I joke about my wife saying, "This is getting serious, you've got to pray about it." So there's no pressure there. But there isn't any pressure because it's God that does the business. And I'm just so grateful that although she doesn't come here very often, that she does recognize the power of prayer and supports me in my path of learning. And I'm very grateful for that.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you for the readings. We've been very grateful because our one family had wonderful protection from fire just 2 weeks ago. They live in a semi-detached house, and the son was away for 4 days, and my daughter-in-law had a tiring week with all the children and the cats. And on this Thursday night, she was watching television and suddenly smelt burning. So she went into the kitchen, but nothing was there. It was a problem. Then she looked out, and there was a fire engine outside the house. And so she got the family and the cats out, and the fireman said that the reason they'd come so quickly is that a passerby had seen flames in the next door house window and had phoned the fire brigade. So there they were. And she said they were very, very good and dealt with the fire next door. And apparently the people who were renting the house had gone out and perhaps left an open grate. Anyway, she said the firemen were great and waited to make sure that the fire was really out and that nothing had gone up into the attic, because then that could have gone across into their attic. But so they were so well looked after. We're so grateful. She said it was a dreadful smell when they went back to bed. She had to have all the windows open. But otherwise, everything was absolutely fine. So, thank you.
Thank you, Hazel. I think I'll ask if there's anybody listening in who might like to share something of their gratitude for Christian Science. So if you wish to do that, please press star followed by 6. Have I got that right? 6 followed by star? John? Is it 6 followed by 6? You're right. Star and 6, yes. Star and 6. Yeah. Star followed by 6. And then we'll be able to hear you. We'll just wait for a minute, because in case somebody wants to... I think they've had long enough to press star and 6, so...
Just very quickly, I just want to say I'm so grateful for a year of constant unfolding of good. Rather than a succession of healings, it's really been a year of unfolding goodness. Sorry, I'm being very soft. But mostly I'd like to say I'm just grateful for a daily growing in my understanding of God's allness. And for that, probably to everything that works towards that. That includes the daily lesson, the church services, the periodicals, the daily lift. There really is so much. Online there's so much now. And this book, which I also read just last year, really inspiring and helpful. And I honestly have felt a daily growing in my understanding of God as all. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Yes, just to echo what everybody else has been saying, really. I've enjoyed a harmonious year. A lot has happened. I've been very busy, and everything's unfolded very harmoniously, for which I'm so grateful. One tries to base everything one does on prayer and on an understanding of God's government, and things invariably turn out the way that you would have hoped they would. For a time this year, I was feeling unwell and generally under par. But I'm very grateful that it didn't stop me doing anything. We had a lot to do. We've been on various little river cruises up and down the river, and I was able to take part in all of those. And with the help of a practitioner and of various friends in this church as well, the difficulty was overcome, and for that I'm very grateful. And yeah, I'm very grateful for Christian Science.
Thank you, Heather.
I'm very grateful to be a member of this church. With all the love and support that there is, it feels like a second family. But I'd like to say what a wonderful year it has been. I can't think of anything in particular, but it's just generally, just knowing that God is there in the background, well, not in the background, as part of my life all the time, and knowing that whenever there's a problem, that there is only the one mind in control, has been such a lovely, idea to sort of hold on to. But I'd like to tell you a little story that I read this week. I read a short story about 2 days ago, and I got to the end of the story and couldn't see the point of it until I had a little think. So I would like to just very briefly tell you about it. This elderly man was walking through the snow, and he had taken with him a treasure of his, which was a little carved ivory figure that he had had for 45 years, as he had been a sea captain, and he'd got it from a very far away country. And he carried it with him wherever he went, and he was sort of trudging through the snow, holding this little figure. And he soon met a friend And this friend said, "Where are you going?" He said, "I'm going into the village." And he said, "I'll come with you." And this friend had 3 gold coins, which he was wanting to give to somebody who he thought might be needy on the way. He said, "I'll come with you." So the 2 of them trudged through the snow, and it got deeper and deeper, and the snow was blowing around them. And they met a 3rd man, and they said, "Where are you going?" So he said, "I've got my fiddle, and I'm going to the village, so let's all go together." So the 3 of them stumbled through the snow, which got deeper and deeper, and sort of landed in fences and over gates and things, but eventually got to the village. And at the village, they went to the pub, but the pub was very noisy and very full. So they went around behind the village to the barn, and as they came to the barn, they saw a light shining, a little candle burning in the barn. And I thought, right, is that the end of the story? That's very strange. I had a little think about it, and I thought, that's really talking about the 3 wise men. And they went, the inn was too full, so they went around and they saw the barn, and the little candle was where baby Jesus had just been born. And I thought, well, if they're the 3 wise men, what were the gifts that they were taking? Because the 3 wise men took Jesus some gifts. I thought about it, and I thought the little ivory carving was actually appreciation for what we have already got, which we all have got a lot of appreciation for all the good that we have already received. And the man who was playing the fiddle was expressing God's creativity in every way. The beauty of nature is God's creativity being expressed. People who play beautiful music or sing are expressing God as well as soul in their own way. And every way that, people are expressing beauty and goodness and loveliness are all expressions of God. And that's what the man with the fiddle was doing. He was expressing God's creativity and new ideas and new things that people make and whatever. And the 3rd one, who had the gold, was expressing God's generosity. And I was thinking, really, if we count up all the blessings, there are so many, just pouring from God all the time and just have to be accepted. And I'm just so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne.
I'd just like to express gratitude for health in my family. It's something we're grateful not to take for granted, but I'm sure it's a result of Christian Science knowing the truth about my family. And health is a quality of truth, so it's normal that we should be healthy. And Mrs. Eddy said that actually protection is just as important as healing. It's very important to protect ourselves against any animal magnetism, any false suggestions of feeling ill. So I'm just very grateful for that in our family and for harmonious events to happen over the last year. And also Heather and I attended the interfaith meeting last week, and as we had to share a dialogue this time. It's really wonderful to share ideas with other people and realise when you did sit down and talk to people of different faiths, there were very many things we did have in common together, and it was very inspiring. It was lovely. And I'm very grateful for being a member of this church. It's like a church family, and the lovely meetings we have and the help we get from practitioners and friends in prayers when we have challenges. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. I'm very grateful for Christian Science and all the help it's brought to me this last year in practical ways and in healing, lots of healings for myself and my husband and my pussycat. I've always relied on Christian Science and prayer to heal and help, and she's always quickly responded to. And it doesn't happen very often, but when there's a problem, it always resolves very quickly through prayer. Animals are very receptive. I'm just very grateful for Christian Science and to all the practitioners and teachers and lecturers for all that Christian Science gives us to enable us to not only help ourselves but help each other. I'm very grateful for our church family and how we can always call on each other, and the help is and the love is always there. So I'm really grateful for Christian Science.
I would like, if I may, just to thank our first reader for all the love and care and thought she puts into her testimony meeting readings and throughout the year, and the love and care with which she speaks of Christian Science to us every Wednesday, and of course readings on Sundays. And the most recent gift she's given us is this very interesting and lovely, idiomatic, currently updated version of the Psalm 100, which came to me via an email, I think she sent, from just the other day.
From the Message Bible.
From the Message Bible, that's quite right. And I just thought, I don't know whether anyone here has had a chance to read what she sent. Is there an affirmative there, or have some not had a chance yet to download it? May I take the opportunity just of reading Psalm 100 in idiomatic, today's colloquial English, if I may?
Yes.
And then I would encourage you to go back to the wonderful version from the King James Version Bible as well, which is, of course, equally lovely. But this has something about it which may encourage you and may give you a sense of joy and thanksgiving, which is what we're about today. On your feet now. Applaud God. Bring a gift of laughter. Sing yourselves into his presence. Know this, God is God and God. He made us. We didn't make him. We're his people, his well-tended sheep. Enter with the password, thank you. Make yourselves at home, talking praise. Thank him. Worship him. For God is sheer beauty, all generous in love, loyal always and ever. Thank you, Jane.
Thank you, Gordon. I think that's a good note to end on. Let's sing our last hymn. 283. Praise we the Lord, for his mercy endureth forever. Let us extol him with joyous and loving endeavour. Come, let us sing, praising our God, our King. I shall now read the scientific statement of being from the Christian Science textbook. There is no life, truth, intelligence, nor substance in matter. All is infinite mind and its infinite manifestation. For God is all in all. Spirit is immortal truth. Matter is mortal error. Spirit is the real and eternal. Matter is the unreal and temporal. Spirit is God, and man is his image and likeness. Therefore man is not material, he is spiritual.
And from 1 John, behold, what manner of love the Father hath bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of God. Therefore the world knoweth us not, because it knew him not. Beloved, now are we the sons of God, and it doth not yet appear what we shall be. But we know that, when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. And every man that hath this hope in him purifieth himself, even as he is pure.
Now the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing, that ye may abound in hope, through the power of the Holy Ghost. Amen.